I think the first thing that you'll discover is you're going to be stretched. You will be stretched physically, more than likely, spiritually, I think. Emotionally, you will be stretched because you're going to be doing things that you haven't done before, and when we do new things, we're stretched. I think the second thing I can guarantee that's going to happen to you is you're going to get tired. And you're saying, oh, this sounds like a lot of fun. Like, I really want to get out of my box. I want to get out. I want to be stretched. I want to be tired. What I'm saying is, in order to maximize our female potential, in order to maximize the gift of motherhood, in order to maximize the inherent qualities that God has given us, we need to step out of the box and encounter these things. And I think I have a great example. For a while, I think I was a box dweller, but I was a box dweller in denial. I got that box dwelling in denial because I looked at my life and I thought, oh, I'm busy. I'm working at church. I've got my kids. I'm volunteering at this. I'm doing that. There's no way I'm a Jill in the box. There is no way I'm a box dweller. So I was a box dweller in denial. See, unfortunately, today what I can share with you, fortunately what I can share with you, are some ways to step out of your box, because what happened to me, I didn't make the choice to consciously step out. I was like thrown out of my box, blindsided, and that's when I learned that I'd even gotten there in the first place. 5 months ago, actually today's date, I was walking out to my mailbox simply to put my mail in the mailbox. And being the woman that I am and not wanting my neighbors to see that I was still in my pajamas at 10 o'clock in the morning and that I hadn't done my hair, so I had on my pajamas. I put on my sweatshirt and I put on my dress coat over top. So it was unidentifiable that I was a mother who wasn't dressed at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm walking out to my mailbox. My 7-year-old daughter, well, she's in 2nd grade, she's 8 now, was homesick. She'd been up throwing up, she had a sore throat, throwing up that morning. I said, Kennedy, honey, I'm just running out to the mailbox. Be back in, walking out. And I've never broken a bone in my entire life. I've never even had a cavity. I'm just bragging here a little bit to tell you. But I consider myself pretty strong. Walking out to the mailbox, the next thing I know, my feet are out from underneath me. And I've fallen on my tailbone before, and I know it hurts. So I decided, catch yourself, catch yourself. So I stick my arm out, and the next thing I know is my arm just kind of keeps going until my elbow's like this. I heard the pop, and I felt the pop. I felt cracking, I heard cracking. I had never heard bone breaking before, but I was thinking, I think it's broken. I heard like 8 cracks. So I'm laying there in the driveway. All of a sudden, I'm just hot. Because I have my 3 layers of clothes on, I can't tell if the bone's sticking out of my arm. Can't tell if I'm bleeding. And all I thought as I'm laying on that ice is, I gotta get up. And I'm saying, okay, God, okay, God, okay, God. Please help me, please give me strength. I know there are people who've been stranded out in the wilderness. There are people who cars have flipped over and they've survived plane crashes. I'm only 100 feet from my front door, and my 7-year-old daughter is in the house puking, and nobody is there to take care of her. And I felt really dizzy. I was thinking I was going to pass out. It's like, Tricia, you got to get up. You have got to get up. And so I take my arm, and somehow I flipped over on my side. I get up. They don't know how I did this because they said I should have probably gone into shock. I get up. I'm walking to my house, carrying myself like this, and this is how I can tell you I'm a woman. I look at my van, and this is the first thing that came over me that made me realize I'd just been thrown out of my box. I looked inside my van. I was very tempted to grab the handle, and I thought, oh my gosh, when I go to the hospital, somebody's going to have to be driving that thing, and it's a mess. And I'm thinking, honestly, I'm sitting here not knowing if my arm is completely severed, and I'm thinking about the person who's going to be driving my van until I'm mended. But I knew right then, it's like, okay, okay, my house is a mess. I didn't have that picked up. My refrigerator's clean, I did that. My daughter's in the house. I started thinking of these things that need to be taken care of in my home. And and I won't go through the whole story because I've gotten good at telling it because people ask me what happened and I tell them. But the point is, I didn't realize while I was in it took them 24 hours to operate on me, so they kept me pretty doped up and on pain medication. The bone hadn't come all the way through, but I completely busted the top of the humerus off from the shaft. It took them 24 hours to operate on me. I have a plate and I think 11, 12 screws, something like that in my arm. When I was in the hospital, I wasn't concerned, I wasn't thinking about my box, but as I started coming out of it, and as I started looking at the things that were in my box, I started realizing how very uncomfortable it was. Dan and Penny Allen, Dan helps me with fuel, and Penny does, and she does her extreme zone stuff. We've been a small group together. Penny stayed at the hospital with me. This is that other female nurturing thing that she had going. I mean, she stayed with me the whole time. Women started bringing meals to my house from the church. I had food for like 2 weeks. But when I come home, I'm like, okay, who's going to take care of fuel? We're in the middle of the Do Loss project. I'm in charge of that. I'm helping the kids with all their serving things. Who's going to do that? I'm supposed to be bringing the kids shopping, and it's almost Christmas. I haven't got my presents. Who's going to do that? Who's going to set up the tables in the hallway, and who's going to do the decorations? All of a sudden, I realized I had a box. I had my family in my box. I had my career. Even though I work in the church, it was still part of my box. All of me was revolving around what was in there. And until I had been thrown out of it, I didn't realize how much I could let other people do and just how much I was missing because I couldn't see beyond the scope of the box. I think one of the most amazing things I learned is that, how many of you have been through physical therapy? Anybody in here been through PT before? Okay, I was under the impression that physical therapy was like glorified day spa treatment. No, there was no massaging, there was no this. I had gone 8 weeks without getting physical therapy. And I go to pt.2 on Center Street, and Joe Walters is my physical therapist. When they started working with me, they're like, you know what? You've been out of commission for 8 weeks, we've got to get this arm moving. And it's like, it hurt really bad. So he started me out, and he said, Trish, you've got to stretch. You've got to start stretching these muscles. In order for your muscles to grow, you need to stretch. So I started out with a little yellow band, and this is what I would do my exercises with. And at first, I couldn't do this. So it's like, okay, that's doing good, that's doing good. Then a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, I graduate to the red one. And it's like, and I'm doing different things, and I'm going like this. And one time Joe comes up to me, and I graduated to the green, and I've gone to the blue, and I can do all sorts of wonderful exercises with these. But the point is, each time you finish with one, your body gets stronger, so you have to move on to the next thing, and it's stronger because it challenges you. And I'll never forget, one day, after I moved to the red one, and I'm sitting there, and I'm doing my things, and I'm doing this, and Joe comes over, and he said, so are you tired yet? I said, no. He goes, do 45 more. I'm like, what? Do 45 more? And this is what my point is here. He said, in order to maximize your range of motion, Tricia, you need to stretch these muscles. You need to build these muscles. I'm like, but I am getting tired. Well, you're going to get tired. That's good. And when you're tired, you know what you do? Your body rests. You rest. And you know what happens when you're resting? You grow. And so when Joe said that to me, he said, maximize your range of motion. You have to be stretched, and you're going to get tired. And I think that's the same thing with motherhood. I think the same thing stepping out of the box. You're going to get stretched, and you're going to get tired.